This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Netflix,
GoDaddy.com,
and Squarespace.
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
You bet.
Really?
Yeah!
Okay, this is really, really scary now.
I trust you.
Okay, pull the car over.
Pull the car over. Ooh.
You want to see it?
Yeah, well, just show me while I'm driving.
No, I can't. I can't tell you about it. It'll only take a couple seconds.
All right, 2 seconds, okay?
Okay.
What is it?
Just pull over.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, scare me.
Are you ready?
Okay, go ahead. What are you doing?
With nothing better to do, get abducted by the crew of the Starship Alpha 2. They're from the planet Q, which, due to a space-time loop, is stuck in 82 and must be rescued. They need our heroes to discuss the latest news and give their reviews of games and movies too. Sure hope you're not confused. We swear this is all true, not just the premise too. The Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 77. I'm Alex Albright.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
The Totally Rad Show is your weekly dose of all things rad. We go down to the weekly candy shop and create a rad candy bag. That, like a lot of jokes you don't get, were inside jokes that we created at PAX.
We were addicted to candy at Candy Bag. We went down to the Pike Street Market while we were in Seattle.
Market, yep.
I'd never been there.
Pike's Place.
Very awesome.
Had lunch overlooking the Bizet.
Beautiful.
Which was awesome.
I was sick in bed.
And you're still kind of
sick. And I'm
sick.
still a little sick, so if coughs happen, audio listeners, please beware. And also, audio listeners, you should also be watching the show.
To see amazing user-submitted backgrounds like Kevin Rayfield from Orlando, Florida.
Heyo.
Ayo.
Yeah, cool background.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'm excited this week.
Turn into Bob Barker for a second.
Ayo. Yeah.
And I am contractually obligated to mention that The Shield is back.
Ah.
Steve and I were high-fiving at dinner about how awesome it is. If you haven't watched The Shield, don't start now on this season. Start on season 1. Because it's the S is hitting the F in this season.
It's funny you should bring up The Shield because that medium has not been chatted about since Comic-Con, I believe. Maybe once before. So next week, stay tuned. We're going to have some TV stuff. Oh, so is Charles. We have a little mascot here in the garage, which
Big
is
cockroach
quite
a giant
large.
cockroach heading towards Steve.
Yeah, not that any of us are afraid of that because
No, not at all.
we could totally.
You know, on a totally unrelated note, let's get into the show.
This week in movies, we're talking about Towelhead, which is based on the book by Alicia Iran. It's written and directed. The movie is written and directed by Alan Ball, who we all know from American Beauty and 6 Feet Under, and now
True
coming
Blood
soon.
next week.
That we're covering next week. True Blood. I believe this is his his feature directorial debut.
He didn't direct American Beauty?
No, Sam Mendes.
Oh. Interesting.
He's Making the Road, which is the book you're reading right now.
It is.
So it is about a young half Lebanese girl who moves in with her father in Houston, Texas, and meets all sorts of dysfunctional people in her neighborhood and school, and it's basically her coming of age in this really
sexual awakening kind of.
Yeah. So it stars Aaron Eckhart.
Yep. Two-Face. Most people know.
Two-Face. Who else was headlining this movie? Toni Collette.
She's awesome.
And I think
Those are sort of the big guns.
Those are the big guns. Okay.
Yes, a new actress. What's her butt?
Yes, and I should have looked up the name of the
young actress
right here.
Yeah, it's right there. We're introducing.
Yeah.
This young actress playing the lead. What did you think of the movie, Alex?
I will first start by going out and saying a couple things about Alan Ball. It took me a little while to get into 6 Feet Under, but I subsequently loved it. Right? I'm excited to check out True Blood. Did not like American Beauty. Did not like it.
Wow.
One bit. Was in the minority, and I know that, but I just did not like it one bit. So this movie, Towelhead, is ostensibly American Beauty, but from a Middle Eastern point of view, which is sort of how I thought of it. It's not that. I thought this movie, I was sort of surprised at how hopeful this movie was, especially at the end. Some of the stuff that I really didn't like about Alan Ball's stuff is it's so utterly hopeless and tragic. You know what I mean? Like the person that you're in love with inevitably is, dies in some sort of horrible, gut-wrenching, doesn't life just suck at the end of the day way. And so I was interested to see that this was actually based on a book. Because I really liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. I thought the acting was great. It's, creepy and entrancing as Alan Ball's, previous stuff has been known to be. I felt totally engaged. I felt for all the characters. It was just really sweet. I ended up actually liking it a lot.
Wow, sweet isn't a word I would use to describe it. We talk about liking or not liking a movie, and it's difficult for me to talk about this movie in a like-dislike kind of way. It's one of those movies like Boys Don't Cry or something, where it's a very difficult film to see. I didn't like the experience of watching it, but I'm glad I watched it. It's a very heart-wrenching. It's all about sort of the taboos of sexuality, and it deals with some things in a very frank and in-your-face manner that are hard for me to see with someone that young. We literally just watched the movie, and I'm almost in a funk and have been in a funk ever since it ended, and it's because the movie is so heavy and deeply affecting. I respect the movie a great deal. I loved American Beauty, and I don't think for me this movie reaches that level, but by the end of this film, you feel like you've gone through so much with this character. It's really a unique, interesting movie that I recommend people see, but know going in that it's not going to be a pleasant experience. But maybe that's what's good about it.
It's a very complicated movie, and it starts out in one of the most complicated human situations you can be in. It starts out and it spends 5 seconds there, and then you're already in somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to warm up to it. I really did like the movie quite a bit, and I wasn't enjoying it when I felt that it wasn't hopeful at all, and then by the end, it did start to all mean something. And everything building really came, as soon as it came together, my negative thoughts all turned into positive thoughts.
I think that's where my sweet comment came from.
Yeah.
Was that it was hopeful. Toni Collette.
It took a while, yeah. Toni Collette does that everything she's in. But also I'd love to mention the cinematography I thought was really good. And it's this guy, Newton Thomas Siegel, who shoots all of Bryan Singer's stuff. And he shot the pilot of House, And the pilot of that show looks nothing like the rest of the show, and he has just a unique style. And if you ever go back and look at the pilot of House, I mean, you can compare it to the rest of the show. You can really see what a cinematographer does, and he has this weird like way of putting color in the highlights and a different color is everywhere else. And this movie had that. He just put such a stamp on his work, and I loved it in Towelhead.
I was really impressed with all the performances, and especially that young girl whose name we didn't bother to look up. But
this is her whale rider, in my opinion.
She's quite something in this movie, and I'm wondering if you guys think, like I do, that this movie will be around during Oscar time.
It could be. It felt like it was. It was not American Beauty to me. It was not. I mean, certainly.
It was definitely not to me in the exact opposite way.
Yeah, but I'm one of the people that did love American Beauty, and it did not. It felt like it was missing something there, and some of the filmmaking I thought was a little bit, shooting through his arm with a little bit like obvious, a little bit. Up front, just like the content was very much in your face.
I also think it's interesting. I mean, we're all three males looking at this movie from a very male perspective, and I'm very curious what a female perspective
I actually was thinking the exact same thing, because it is very coming of age and coming of sort of sexual, dealing with like her first period and things like that, which in watching, I was like, wow, I'm really glad I didn't have to go through that stuff. You know what I mean? I'll take a boner over period any day of the week.
Not one thing or person or event that happened in this movie have I ever experienced.
Right.
Yet it all felt really true.
Never folded a flag.
And I understood, and yet I've gone through things that in my life that I felt the same way she felt. Sort of, but
the coughing.
Not in a different way. I felt that kind of emotion, but not having gone through any of the same experiences.
I also want to say one thing real quick, which is this is not a movie
to see with your parents.
No. Oh, well, yes, but no, this movie is actually set in the 80s.
What? No, early 90s.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like late 80s, early 90s, or like 91, 90, or whenever it was. But it's not about now. One of the things that I was like, I saw, we're seeing Towelhead, and I was like, all right, great, another, movie about the war in Iraq. Here we go. You know what I mean? Like Alan Ball doing a war in Iraq. It has
wrong war.
Right, war in Iraq. But just so that people don't get turned off or go in expecting a sort of war drama or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
For me, I was like, I'm excited to see, a pre 9/11 Middle Eastern family, and how even without all that stuff lumped into it, what it was like and all that stuff. So I was really sort of happy about that. But I also wanted to say, Toni Collette's husband, for me, every time that guy was on camera, I was hooked. Yeah, I was hooked. I love that guy.
He's a hero. It's heroism in that movie.
He is the hero. Yeah. Great movie.
Very good. Speaking of heroes, we're going to talk about the trailer for Milk. This is
Nickelodeon.
The new. It's playing right now. It's the new Gus Van Sant movie, and I want to talk to you guys about him because he's a filmmaker, a prolific filmmaker, and I don't think we've yet talked about him on the show. But Milk stars Sean Penn as Harvey Milk, and Josh Brolin, and Diego Luna, and James Franco, and Emile Hirsch, star-studded cast. About Harvey Milk, who was the first gay man to be elected into politics.
Yeah, he was a city
councilman.
City councilman. No, board of supervisor or something like that.
In San Francisco in the 70s, 80s?
78. 1978.
So this is the biopic.
Biopic. Wasn't there an Oscar-winning documentary about his life?
There was in the 80s.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier.
I read that.
What do you guys get from the trailer?
To my recollection,
what do you think?
And I again didn't bother to look it up, but to my recollection, this is Gus Van Sant doing something he hasn't done in a while, which is the big, star-studded, mainstream kind of movie. He's been doing these little one-off things for a while. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know of another star-studded thing he's done.
Oh well, To Die For, I would say, is is that kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess
you
so.
know, and I feel like he used to do those kind of movies and hasn't done them in a while.
What I was gonna say, I mean, to me, it's more like he's doing a movie with a plot. Which are my favorite of his. I happen to be one of the only guys on the planet that enjoyed Jerry. I didn't see his last two, which you're right, where these. I did see Elephant, but I didn't see Paranoid Park, which I heard is amazing, and Last Days, which was the Kurt Cobain thing, which are these very experimental, pensive movies that are just slices of life kind of affairs. And this makes me feel like it's back to the movies that I love of his, which is I think I'm in the minority for loving Finding Forrester, and Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm in Private Idaho and all that stuff. So so I'm excited to see his return to a real story-oriented movie, not just character-oriented. But
This trailer looks phenomenal.
It does, except I will say I'm a little worried of the schmear of acting that Sean Penn is putting on this character. I'm a little worried
bother me.
that this character is going to be, a little too I Am Sam in there for me in regards to this character.
I guarantee you when you see the movie or not.
I hope, but
I mean,
we're
it
talking about the
seems
trailer,
like
not the
these
movie.
things, I know.
There's a moment. Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
The trailer itself. There's a moment where he gets the note that says as soon as you get to the mic, you're gonna get shot. And in the trailer I'm watching, I'm like, oh my god, don't get shot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I actually, it's specifically to that point too. Sean Penn is a guy. When you see actors in movies, you sort of make up opinions of how you think they really are in real life.
Yes.
And Sean Penn's a guy who, like, I feel like he would not like me. Me and him would not get along. Like, I feel like he's.
I agree with that. I'm very much like Sean Penn.
I don't. And he just seems sort of mean. And in this,
Seems sort of mean?
like kind of mean and a little bit to himself and cold and standoffish. And in this movie, it seems like his essence is different. Like he seems like jovial and good, and I always view Sean Penn. I have this sort of preconceived notion of him, and it's like gone from just seeing slivers of his performance in the trailer. I feel like he's a completely different. He's not playing a different role. He changed his way of operating.
Yeah.
Wow. High praise indeed from Dan Trachtenberg.
To a guy who would hate him.
All right, so here we are at PAX, which is the Penny Arcade Expo. In Seattle.
Seattle, Washington.
Which is the first time I've been outside of the airport in Seattle ever. So that's kind of cool in and of
I've been
itself.
to Seattle a bunch.
But Penny Arcade is the popular online comic strip about video games. These guys put on really an event for fans where E3 and some of the other big video game trade shows, GDC and stuff, aren't for fans. This is really for gamers to come and get hands-on with games that haven't even come out yet. We're gonna get to see a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's not only just games either. I mean, let's be clear. It's like games of all sorts. Like we're gonna go and check out
tabletop
there's a whole
stuff.
Tabletop stuff. There's pen and paper tournaments. There's classic console gaming. There's all sorts of really cool
As much as I'm excited to get to see a lot of the Mirror's Edge and Gears of War 2 and a lot of the cool stuff that we're gonna get to see, I may be even more excited to check out the Munchkin board game.
I know.
I'm very excited
Can't wait to
about
see
that. I personally am excited to actually create our D&D 4th edition characters.
Yeah, long overdue.
This is long overdue, but just because that's how long it takes to get
Yeah.
that stuff released.
Anything to add, Dan?
I'm hoping that my under the weatherness turns around.
Dan's got a little bug, flu bug.
He needs his KB Toys
but,
kangaroo to turn his frown upside down.
The one thing I hate are freaking beholders. There's one behind me, isn't there?
No.
Damn it. Epic.
That was awesome.
So walk up to that boulder and get.
Oh, they're not dead. They're not all dead. I shot his legs off.
That was awesome.
Like freeze into place.
Oh, balls!
I'm kind of in love with this game.
I know, right?
Munchkin Quest.
Never seen this before. Oh, is this the board game?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I like that the cards are squared edges.
Yeah.
So we're here at the EA booth with Ron. We're going to talk about Need for Speed Undercover. Now, I was a big fan of Most Wanted. I didn't play all the others, but Most Wanted, I was hooked. What is the difference between this game and that?
Well, this game drew a lot of inspiration from Most Wanted, but it's really added its own flavor and its own, it's a lot of new features to this game that people are really going to dig. So if you were a fan of Most Wanted, you're definitely going to love Need for Speed Undercover. So pop chases are back, vast open world is back, and you've got a really cool, immersive Hollywood action storyline. We've got FMV sequences that are filmed live action. Nothing is green screen, nothing is CG.
Now, we can't shoot the screen, but I'll tell you, it looks pretty nice.
It's like Bad Boys 2.
It is like Bad Boys 2.
Awesome.
So tell me who you are and what you do on Gears of War.
My name is Pete Hayes. I'm a senior artist at Epic Games, and basically I take all the beautiful concepts that our concept department creates and I model them in 3D. Primarily what I model is all of the weapons, a lot of the vehicles, a little bit of character and creature work, and one of my favorites, all of the gore. So anytime something explodes, I've modeled the kind of inside.
Splatter. Are there any new weapons in Gears of War 2 that we should be excited about?
Pretty much all of them. I mean,
What's new? What haven't we seen in the first game?
You've got the Gorgon pistol, which is basically a rapid fire kind of pistol with dual clips that fires in 6-shot bursts.
Like that.
You've got the Scorcher, obviously, the flamethrower.
Oh, yes.
All around torching people.
Excited to try that bad boy.
You've got the 2 new heavy weapons, which are a new thing, both with the class of weapons and the weapons themselves. One of them's a mortar, and basically you ratchet the crank, which determines the angle of it, and then it's like shooting off fireworks that make people explode.
This is my favorite kind of fireworks. Holy crap, I totally forgot how to play this game. Hobbling, 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 I died. Where are you? I'm right here. I don't know where right here is.
So that was PAX.
Wow, dude.
It's really, really fun. I like how it's so many different kinds of things, but those things are all separated into different areas.
But they're also very similar. You know what I mean? It's like the same. It's like different flavors of the same candy. You know what I mean?
That's true.
All good candy.
All good candy.
But I felt like at Comic-Con, especially, when everything would kind of mush into it. You'd have a video game section that was kind of mushed into a comics. It was kind of mushed into everything was all jumbled up. And if I want to go to tabletop gaming, I come to this building and it's all here.
Yep.
If I'm into video games, I go to that building. It's And there's retro stuff that's in its own area.
Yeah. Dude, the tabletop stuff was amazing. We got to meet some of the people from Steve Jackson Games. Blew our mind.
We got promotional stuff.
Like promotional stuff that's going to make our Munchkin games even that much longer, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The video games that we saw here blew our minds. I mean, getting hands-on with Dead Space, Gears of War 2. I don't know
Every
about
game
you
we had
guys.
hands-on was like amazing.
I know.
There are games that we had seen at
bing.
E3, but got hands-on time here.
And how cool is it that this is for gamers? This is for the consumer to be able to walk up and play games that aren't out yet.
It's sort of what E3 ended up becoming towards the end of its life cycle.
There was still like a privilegey kind of thing.
I know,
to
there was
it,
still
where
like behind the scenes you could see the real good stuff.
Well, you had to connive to get an invitation.
Yeah.
And this is really cool that the industry has embraced this convention so much.
I'm gonna say, next year at PAX we should do a live show.
I think it'd be great. It'd be super fun.
Penny Arcade people, call us. That's what I'm saying.
Any last thoughts, Danny?
No, I mean.
You wish you weren't sick through the entire thing?
I wish I wasn't sick.
No.
But we didn't get to do it, but we were watching people in that free play console room.
Yes.
Playing Gold. You can come here to PAX and play GoldenEye on an N64 if you want to.
Mega Man 2 on an NES.
Punch Out on any game they had.
They had an Atari 2600.
Dreamcast.
I know.
Jaguar.
They had an Atari 2600 set up.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
that's
can go
how
and play any
old
of the
school it
games.
was.
I think that's awesome.
That's what this is about. We're so excited.
It's about the love.
It's about the love.
Bring it
Let's
home.
go get a sandwich.
So the video game we're going to talk about this week is the game that evidently caused the Xbox 360 to sell out in Japan, if you believe the
reporting.
If you believe the true facts.
Yes. If you believe facts and numbers from Japan.
And that game is Tales of Vesperia. It's the latest in the Tales of series from Namco Bandai. And this one is the first on the next-gen systems. Or current-gen systems, as I've been told to say. It's on the Xbox 360, and it is a anime-style Japanese role-playing game with a sort of pseudo-real, well, not even pseudo, it's actually real-time combat. So it's that epic 50-hour storyline, start as a innocent androgynous anime character with a dog who smokes a pipe.
That was my favorite part, the pipe and the dog.
Yeah, and you head on an adventure, and it's that Japanese style, move around on the world map, fight, get into battle arenas, discover a story, craft weapons, learn cooking, all kinds of things. So I love role-playing games, but I know you guys aren't as super excited.
Well, I'm a wowzer.
Yeah.
I'm a wowzer. So I like the RPG element of certain role-playing games. Was a big fan of Mass Effect, as you can see on past episodes.
Very different game.
I was pretty surprised at how much fun I had playing this game.
Cool.
You're not the only one that's surprised.
A little bit of Vesperia action?
No, I'm surprised that you.
Oh, well, then don't touch my hand. Yeah, no, I was sort of.
Get that washed.
I was sort of surprised. Yeah, I was sort of surprised. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. I kind of dug the storyline. I felt like the story stuff wasn't too like cutscene. Then you got to do. Then you walk 5 steps, cutscene. I mean, there's a little bit of that.
Well, they do an interesting thing, which is typical for the Tales of series, where you have cutscenes and you have story stuff, but also there's what they call skits, which it pops up, you push the back button, and then little portraits come down, and they have a little conversation that kind of fills in the edges of the story.
Yeah, and maybe it's because usually those things are forced upon you, and I just didn't even know that I think I accidentally hit the back button once. And I was like, why are they talking X? No, I really loved it. The combat system felt really, really great. I had it on, I think it was on semi-auto by default, so that my other friends were doing things. But before every round, I would hit the thing, I would go to the airs and make sure that she was casting Sharpen on me and this guy, and then we were going bam, and then she'd do bam, and I would do the full blam, blam. I had all the shortcuts going on.
I love it when you get scat.
Yeah, it was epic, which means that the combat system was fun.
Yeah.
So I dug all that. And the story was, the story is crazy Japanese RPG story, you know what I mean? But it was fun. I was like, oh yeah, I'll heal a tree. That sounds epic. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was really surprised at how much fun I had.
Cool. Dan, what do you think?
I didn't like the game at all. I shouldn't
just
say
because I liked it, Dan.
The graphics are amazing.
Yeah.
The art style is great.
It really looks like a cartoon. Like
it does.
Really, really, really looks like you're in an anime cartoon.
Yes.
Like really. And that's great. Although it opens and there is an anime cartoon in the beginning, and I almost I was like, oh my god, they really, and this isn't based on a cartoon, is it?
Not that I'm aware of.
So they actually did an anime 2D animated thing, and then I never saw that return. I only played a few hours.
No, yeah, it does return periodically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that, but didn't make it, I guess. So yeah, I only played a few hours, and it definitely was starting to build when I ended. But even so, it's hard. I did like the real-time combat system, not as much as I liked the other RPGs combat system that we've been. The Final Fantasy Crisis Core had a more interesting combat system, I felt. But this was cool.
Wasn't it?
This was fun.
Crisis Core didn't know that was real-time also.
But
I gotta play that.
that was fun, but the story was not. It's too much of a barrier for me. Could not get into that story, and that's the only reason to play an RPG, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle of you guys. I think,
in fact,
I don't know how I would figure that out in some way. Yeah, it's. I definitely liked the game and played and liked it more as I played more of it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it as much as Lost Odyssey, which I think is a superior role-playing game on the 360. And there's things about the combat system is real time, but it's so odd. It's you run around in 3D space, but then you get on these planes with the enemies, and you can attack them if you're on the same plane. But then you have to hold the trigger in order to get out of that plane, and there is a lot of complexity that's added later where you can do these. Special attacks if you time things correctly, and you can do surprise attacks. You get this ring and you can shoot guys and make sure that you have a surprise attack on them. All stuff that's been part of the series for a while. But I don't find that as fun as I did with the Lost Odyssey combat system. There's a really cool cooking element and item crafting, but I didn't think that was as fun as, for instance, the cooking and real-time combat in Odin Sphere, which is a PS2 game that I don't think got enough attention. So there's these things about the game that are cool and interesting. I agree. I love the presentation.
Yeah.
I thought the graphics were good. I think it's somebody who likes a role-playing game or a Japanese role-playing game probably already has this on their radar and wants to play it anyway. Right. And it's going to give them that. It's a long, epic story, cool places you get to visit, cool things you get to do. It's just not, I really think Lost Odyssey is a superior title. So if you're looking for one role-playing game to buy and you haven't already played Lost Odyssey.
You want to get into Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, and you just got a 360.
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree, but go ahead. I didn't like Lost Odyssey that much, but
cool. So the fall is upon us.
It has fell.
It fell right into our laps. Everybody just saw us at PAX playing a bunch of really cool stuff, and we didn't get a good chance to talk about that stuff. Next week, the S hits the F. Actually, this week, Spore came out. We're going to be talking about that very soon. Well,
at some point.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to be talking about Star Wars: The Force Unleashed,
which is cool.
Which is, I would say, Spore and that are like the big beginning of the AAA titles that are going to be falling until Christmas.
Force Unleashed is the one
It's like summer movies. Like we're just getting over that, and now we're hit with fall video games.
Yeah. So we played a bunch of stuff that we hadn't played before. You got to play Need for Speed Undercover, which was in the video package.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys are looking forward to this fall. We got a ton of really huge titles. I know we've kind of hashed this ground before, but maybe there's some angle on it, something you played, something that you want to talk about that is coming up.
Give us the options.
Well, there's a lot. There's a ton of stuff. We got Left 4 Dead,
Little Big Planet.
It's coming out actually in the fall. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's considered.
Those are just two.
Yeah, Little Big Planet, Resistance 2, Gears of War 2 we played for the first time at PAX.
Rock Band 2, Guitar Hero World Tour.
Tons and tons of stuff. Prince of Persia, Mirror's Edge. Yeah, that's the idea.
Well, there you go. There you go, folks.
That stands. You had me at Prince
Pop is sort of your benchmark.
It's just my.
I'm telling you, Left 4 Dead is going to be the thing that I think we 4 Kings of Orient are gonna have a lot of fun playing.
It's going to be a really awesome, great, fun first-person shooter, but I can only have so much fun playing a first-person shooter.
Okay. You need to be in some sort of desert environment with swords running on shit.
That's my go-to genre. That's the genre that flicks all my switches. So playing Prince of Persia is going to do it for me. Mirror's Edge, I'm still freaking stoked on, but even more so. Because platform games are my other thing where I go, this game boils down every single other platform game. And Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet's
now that we've played it,
and we saw it. I don't think we even got video of it for the PAX Fest, but we saw it on a 70-inch screen at PAX. And
some may say just slightly better than a 65-inch LCD Olivia screen from Woot.
I didn't buy.
Some may say.
But I was standing there watching Little Big Planet at PAX for quite a while. Drooling. Yeah, you guys left. And the thing that I noticed was that the people who were playing it were all smiling and laughing and doing something and then nudging each other and giggling.
Yeah.
And then you look over at like Resistance 2, which was 2 feet away, and all the people are like, which is a fun way to play too.
I know, and I picked up and played a little bit of that Resistance 2, and I don't know. I'm nervous.
We gotta get you a new controller.
Somebody needs to tell me where I can get an Xbox 360 controller or an original Xbox controller. I'll give 2 craps
You're
now.
getting an email about this, I'm sure.
An email? You just added 500 emails
Tell
to the inbox.
me how to hack a 360 controller to work on a PS3. That's all I want.
Or a third-party controller that works similarly.
It's got to be that fit is just right for first-person shooters. And I didn't grow up with this, the claw and nipple. Action of like that's how I'm first-person shooting.
The thing about Little Big Planet too is that it's a fun game. Besides all the crazy stuff where you can make your own level and play other people's. Before that, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Just playing the level, the platform.
Dude, don't die. Although I will say,
and playing by myself is fun. Playing with where you're like literally the coolest thing to me is that it's a platformer where you need each other to get by. You're helping each other, and then you're screwing each other, and then you're helping each other within the same level. I love screwing my friends.
It's a screwing helping sandwich.
Yeah.
What was going to be said before I cut someone off?
We didn't talk about playing Gears of War 2.
Now, Gears of War 2, I think it was a bad build.
me.
I think it was a bad build. That's what I think. I
It may
think
have
that
been.
because it was really muddy, it was slow, it was hard to move, and I was like, this
It
doesn't...
felt like
I needed context.
Gears of War again.
It felt like Gears of War, yeah.
And I think that it's gonna be a lot of stuff that's new, but it just wasn't.
I
think
used
jumping
the
in there
blowtorch.
for the time that we played, I was like, wait, how do I play this again? And
Well, I think
it's all
that,
happening.
and somebody on the One Up panel was talking about that they picked They picked a bad
Level to
mode
Yeah.
to play.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was basically
team
capture the
deathmatch-
flag, but
no, it's a great mode, and that's probably
It's a
going to be a really
corpse
fun
or
mode. Well, it's a guy. You need to kill him and then drag him, and if you
it's a flag that can shoot back, basically.
And who won? I forget. Oh, I just remembered. Me. This guy with the thumb.
let's get out of here. So before we get to our emails, we do want to thank our sponsors, such as Netflix. That's right. I'm taking away from Danny TRS here. I'm talking about Netflix. I am an actual Netflix user.
Easy for you to say.
Watched Hidalgo, March of
talked
the
about that
Penguin,
movie way
March
too much
of the
on the show.
Penguins, Thing of a Superhero, Confessions of a Superhero, which is a great documentary if you liked it. Anyway, sign up for Netflix. They got plans starting as low as $4.99. Over 75,000 titles, including HD DVDs and Blu-ray discs, except HD DVD lost. You can watch some of the movies streaming over the internet with the Watch Now feature, which will soon be included in the Xbox 360.
Yes.
So get on it early. There are over 40 shipping centers. I feel so much judgment coming from Dan right now. He's like this. Let's see how you handle it, man. With over 40 shipment centers, you basically get your DVD the next day.
What's the most important
You put the
thing?
wrong emphasis on the wrong
the most important thing.
Most important thing is to sign up and get your first 2 weeks free via us. Head over to www.netflix.com/TRS. Totally right, Joe? What is it?
Wow.
What is it, Dan Hope?
I'm watching a
TRS?
possession happen.
TRS.
Possessed your
the
body.
WWWs are important.
Maybe it's some
Thank
quality
you,
of Netflix
Daniel
that makes us...
Trachtenberg.
GoDaddy.com is our good friends in the domain name selling business. If you want to start a website, you're going to need to buy a domain name. The best place to buy a domain name is at GoDaddy.com. They'll sell it to you cheap. They'll give you long-term deals. They'll take care of you. I got a phone call. I bought JeffCanada.com, and they called me at my house and said, "Hey, how are you? How was the experience
It's a
working?"
GoDaddy.
Hey!
You guys making fun of my ethnicity.
I'm making fun of.
You bought a
What did you say?
domain.
Yeah, so I mean, literally, they did call me. They didn't know that I am on a show that they're sponsoring. They just called because they call their customers because they care. Use our promo code when you check out there. You get 10% off. It's TRS1. Put that in the little box when you're checking out. That's what I did. I got 10% off. It's awesome.
I get the giggles.
Okay.
Dr. Giggles,
I can't-
great, scary
Dr.
movie that scared
Giggles,
the poop out of me. Larry
scary
Drake
movie. Yep.
is that guy.
Something.
So speaking of people taking
And
care of
Dougie
you,
Fresh.
Oh, yeah, speaking of people-
Squarespace took the heckin' care out of me.
sure as heck fine. Remember you.
What is that? What movie is that?
Oh, come on, Dan.
Sure as heck fire, remember you.
Come on.
Fire.
Come on.
I sure as heck
You remember
fire
me because I
remember
sure
you.
as heck fire remember you.
You don't know his name.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Stephen
Groundhog
Kowalski.
Day.
You rock, sir.
So, sure he's watching. So, Squarespace. They are this. Jeff mentioned he bought jeffcanada.com. I recently bought dantrachtenberg.com to start my own website. Squarespace helped me with that. It's a, what do you call it, a WYSIWYG editor, website editor? You can basically build your own website, even if you're completely web illiterate like myself. Now, they helped me, but after they went in and did the basics, I went in there and tweaked stuff, and it was like, click this, change the color, doop, click on that, do that. The video, the high-speed video is running right now behind us of them building my site in like 20 minutes. An hour and a half. Yeah. But the video takes 20 minutes to play.
So let's all sit in one.
Yeah. Well, they're also web hosting stuff, so they basically host and maintain all your stuff.
Yeah, they're doing it all, and it's amazing. I never would have thought my site would look good, and it really looks great, and I have to thank them for that. It's got my Twitter feed up on there. It's got my blog, which is just my Twitter feeds, but blown out and expanded in detail. And it's got my reel, the commercials I've done. So if you don't know the name of the company that I work for and to go to check them out, you can just go to dantrachtenberg.com. And it's got a listing of all the TRS episodes. So for people who don't know me from the show, can go and see all the TRS episodes that I'm in. So it's pretty rad. I love it.
And there's a promo code, right? Is there a promo code?
I don't know.
The life of your subscription.
Yep, 10% off the life of your subscription.
What is that promo code?
It is.
I know.
TRS.
It's down here at the bottom.
I'm gonna say
TRS.
I'm gonna go with Dignation.
That will work, right? Does it matter though? I don't want to
it
give
matters.
I don't know,
no one watches our show.
I'm just worried that Dignation is the promo code.
TRS.
That's,
I'm a huge. No. We're gonna. It's gonna be the bottom. Look, Steve's saying it.
But what about audio listeners?
dubbing over my voice every time I said it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, good.
Let's do that. Dub over our voices. Ready? Here is the promo code.
You have
TRS.
to say anything for it to be dubbed.
No, he's gonna over.
TRS.
No, you have to speak. Otherwise, it's not dubbing over.
You're still making fun of my heritage by doing the.
Yeah, you've just insulted half of the people watching the show.
All right, let's do the email.
Anyway, big fans of Squarespace. Email time. Hey guys, love the show. Anyway, it's back to school time across most of the United States. And while I may be in college, I still have fond memories of my elementary school days of going back to school. It was always a huge deal every year for me to get a new backpack, a new lunchbox, and the best year ever was when I had a Jurassic Park backpack in black with matching red Biohazard lunchbox. Sweet setup. Then there was the shoe shopping, LA Gear, baby. And the clothes, not to mention the fresh pack of Crayola crayons and markers. I miss it all so much. So the big question is, what are your fond memories of back to school time? Thanks, guide. Brad I. Seldyke.
Yeah, and he's
Iceman on the
forums, and he writes a lot. But
he's awesome.
No, I just realized as we said that it's Iceman.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was YSSS man. Like.
Yeah, but that's how cool it is because that's the beginning of his last name.
Yeah,
Ice and
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Brad, good question. I don't know about you guys. I used to love the back to school stuff until I got back to school.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, I hated going back to school. But
when the commercials for back to school stuff started airing,
I know, it felt so. Yeah.
How about when it started, you would be playing outside and it would start getting dark earlier? That was always like you knew school was coming.
Yeah.
I would never, the night before school, every year was the same thing. Staring up at ceiling fan for me. I could never sleep the night before school.
Yeah.
But what were the
Why could you not sleep the night before school?
Nervous.
Hated
Hated it.
it.
Nervous, hated it. So, memory of gearing up.
Yeah.
School.
I anticipate what we're all going to bring up is Trapper Keepers.
Oh, yeah.
Because about getting the Trapper Keeper, which the Trapper Keeper was cool because you could get, the design you wanted, but those plastic rings
Zipper
in the
bags.
Well, the plastic rings in the middle that slide back and they would unhook and they had the tooth in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Always broke about 4 seconds into use. Terrible design. But yes, and it's interesting that you brought up shoes because I always remember. I think we were one of the first generations to have the whole big $150
Air Jordans.
sneakers.
Air Jordans.
And I was never allowed.
Pumps. I had tennis pumps.
You had the
tennis
green
pumps.
furry ones?
Yeah, baby.
Oh, those were awesome. LA Gear made pump rip-offs.
Yep.
That I thought were even cooler. But then
Wow.
they stopped making them, and I couldn't get them.
I definitely think you guys were cooler than I was because I was never allowed to get the expensive shoes.
Yeah.
And
I remember waking up in the morning, I put the shoe in, tie it up.
never. Ugh.
Nuts. 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 All right. Tie it by the shoe.
Does everybody remember? Zips are a lot of fun. No.
Wait.
Oh, what is it? The
Bing, bing, bing,
what are the
boom.
kangaroo ones where
Jams?
you can put?
Dude, a dude in Towelhead
Kangaroo.
was wearing
It's called
jams.
kangaroo.
Yeah.
Kangaroo.
Anyway, I had like Velcro when Velcro was not cool and everyone made fun of me.
That's bad.
I was made fun
What
of
was
for my
going
shoes.
on? What was going on over there?
It's okay, Mom. Don't feel bad.
What's happening?
I was better off for it. Screw those kids.
Well, was there any one product that you remember?
I mean, there's I too. I mean, earlier on, I didn't have a lunch pail. I had a thermos. And I remember.
you only drank your
No,
meals?
because we would put SpaghettiOs in our thermos.
mine was French bread pizzas. Stover's
what?
French bread pizzas.
In your
I was-
thermos?
I would put them in my thermos and then I'd hide them because I was embarrassed.
In your
no,
lunchbox?
That was
Alex,
like.
I had a Rambo. I had a red Rambo lunchbox, but
I know. I stopped
I'm with
immediately.
you on like the Trapper Keepers. It wasn't like, am I getting a Trapper Keeper? It's which Trapper Keeper am I getting?
Damn.
Yes.
I'm
Damn
just-
animated GIF that will be happening. God damn
You're
it.
standing over here blowing a Shetland pony. I was like, what are you doing?
I was doing you trying to get.
I know what you're trying to do. It looked like you were some sort of space clam you were sucking on.
I love that. Like every year before school, I would always make this pact. This year, I'm gonna be neat,
Organized.
I'm gonna be
Organized.
This year, I'm gonna keep it. And the first day, after the first day, yes, I'm keeping it neat.
Yeah.
And somehow by the end of the week, and the same thing, my favorite thing.
You know what the modern day equivalent or the grown up equivalent of that is? This year, for taxes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep all my receipts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write down all my mileage.
Yep.
No, never happened.
I don't really ever think
my
that,
favorite
but
thing is
I know what you
pen.
mean.
Every year I
Pen?
would find like my favorite pen, you know, and I would buy a bunch of them. And I love my favorite pen is the Pilot Le Pen. And when you find your favorite pen, I love to write. You know, then you would lose it. I would lose my pens. Did you guys not have that problem? I would stick my pen in my pocket. That's all it would go. Somehow it would be missing. And then you lose your pen, and then you use shitty pens. And every time you use the shitty pen, you're using it, and then all of a sudden you realize, you know, I should just buy. It's not that expensive. I'll buy a new pen. And when you buy it, you're like, oh, writing's fun. I want to write more often. It was like fun to write. The Pilot Le Pen made writing fun. And then you would lose them. I don't know how could that?
Do you guys remember those triangle things that you put your thing so it wouldn't roll off the desk?
Yes.
Plastic, and everyone would chew them.
I was a
I
big
didn't know
pen. I was big. I'm a very.
Pencil chewer.
Don't.
Yes.
Me too.
Not pencil. Pen caps. Like the thing of the pen cap.
What did you buy?
I mean,
Love.
Trapper Keepers, clothes. I mean, you know, for me, it was just that time of year was like a great excuse for me to go blow money. For some reason, I loved paper. Like I loved having paper and binders. Like there was something about that. And even to this day, like my dad would like come home from work and be like, "Oh, I have this like, you know, USA, you know, space program thing that has like a folder and you put pens in it and little cards." It's like, oh man, I love that. I'd never know what to do with them, but I would have them. I have like tons of them at home, monogrammed ones. I don't know why that like organized stuff I really loved, which was great.
To segue into the next thing we're going to talk about, you know, we didn't go to when we were in Seattle the Sci-Fi Museum, but I just heard
Thank you, Brad.
that one of my favorite
Thank you, Brad.
books of all time, The Baroque Cycle by Neil Stephenson, his original manuscript, which 3 books, and they're huge books, all written by hand with pens.
Pilot Le Pen.
The manuscript is in the science fiction
Wow.
museum.
That's crazy.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Well, that brings us to some big old thank yous. First off to Brad, if you'd like to send in an email, feel free to do so, fans@totallyradshow.com, but also the Dougie Fresh,
Our buddy.
Doug Starr,
Doug.
who hooked us up with hotel rooms for PAX. The reason that we were able to go to PAX. We also want to thank Meg Campbell, our wayward,
girl.
Steve.
our female Steve from Steve
Of Girl Hack.
She was the
of
best
girlhack.com.
video thing we've ever used.
She's the best video thing we've ever used. I
Love you, Meg.
totally called her that while we were shooting. And
talk
then, of
about
course,
infighting.
thank you all that stuff because we wanted to thank everybody who came to see us in PAX because Doug
One of
got
the
us
most
out there.
amazing nights. It was great.
It was epic. It was a proposal.
Yes.
You want
That
to
was
talk about something
mind-blowing.
else?
No, I was gonna say that. I
Yeah.
mean, like, because unfortunately we didn't have a camera there, but
Yeah, if you guys haven't been to our forums and seen the reports from the meetup, we actually helped a proposal for marriage happen at Kelzara's Pub
I've
while we were there.
Have you ever seen someone do that in real life?
I
right literally was crying. I played it off as sweat because that was easy to do.
Yes.
But I literally was. I was biting them. I couldn't believe it was. I was
biting
so
them?
happy. I was biting the bottle that I had in my hand.
Will you marry? Get off me!
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was great.
And congratulations to you guys.
Yes, congrats.
And
I'm glad it worked out.
mind-blowing. People
Mind-blowing.
proposed at the thing.
There were so many people. It was so great meeting everybody. We had
best
a
meetup we've
blast at PAX. So thank you, Meg, for coming and helping us out. And thank you so much, Dougie, for making it all happen.
All right, let's wrap
and
this
playing
puppy up.
infighting with us, the D&D infighting.
Yeah.
So the other thing we want to say is we'd like to welcome Hack 5 to the Revision 3 network. I've known the Hack 5 guys since way back when we launched Stignation. Great group of guys. They're now on the Revision 3 network every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. You can catch a new episode of Hack 5.
Send us an email at fans@totallyradshow.com. Send us backgrounds. Go to our website, totallyradshow.com. Download this background. Download templates for your own backgrounds. Check out the forums at totallyradshow.com. Click to participate. Go to myspace.com.
Yeah.
Or don't.
MySpace is just whatever.
Twitter?
No, I was gonna say head over to the main website. I know I should have even given people for a warning at the top of the show, but we screwed up last week and we told them we were gonna do Bangkok Dangerous.
Yeah, dodge that bullet.
Yeah.
But aren't you so relieved that
Yes,
we didn't have to see
I
it? But we won't screw you this time. I will tell you the name of the movie we're going to review ahead of time, and it will also be up on totallyradshow.com. And that movie, my friends, is the next Coen Brothers film, Burn After Reading.
I could not be more excited.
Correctamundo. Please follow us up on Twitter if you want to catch the day-to-day ramblings of these four fine fellows. Alex Albrecht,
Jeff Canada,
Danny TRS, and Steve TRS. And that is twitter.com/ any one of those usernames. Well, that's it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad Show. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Until next time, let's punch you, bitches.
Do it up, Dan. Come on.
I can't end.
It's always going to be a production.
I can't end.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the... It's going to be a weird one. I'm not going to fucking lie to you. And there's some 13-year-old girl touching stuff we got to talk about, and I'm going to be laughing like crazy. Not because it's bad. Here we go. Ready?
Because it's bad.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Totally... You're so loud.
We've lost Alex.
What are you doing? Whoa! Whoa! Jeff almost died.
And stay there for a while, stay there for a while. Okay, never. I guess you were just gonna
You'll cover it over. You'll cover it over.
Yeah, but the giggling is not.
Your left shoulder.
Your left shoulder more towards
your head.
Left shoulder.
Towards the green.
Other way.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like this.
Exactly. There you go. There you go.
Don't move. It's rolling. Don't move. What are you doing? You're oppositing it.
Get away from me.
Don't move. Okay. Don't move.
Hey, friends don't let
Okay.
friends.
Get back. Get back.
Get
That's
back.
perfect.
That was it.
Is that good? Is he still there?
Yeah,
Want me to
yeah.
touch him some more? Okay,
All
here we
right.
go.